This story is titled, Caught My Girlfriend Boasting About Cheating with My Best Friend. Now I'm dating his girlfriend, and they've lost everything. Hey everyone, before we dive into today's video, I need your help. We've noticed the channel isn't gaining as much attention, and subscribing is one of the easiest ways you can support us. It's quick, free, and it helps us keep bringing great content to you. Your support really means a lot to us. Let's grow this channel together. Thank you so much, and now let's get into the video. Okay, Reddit, I'm 27, and I feel like I need to write this down because I can't talk to anyone about it right now. My hands are literally shaking as I type this. But whatever. I've been with this girl, I'll call her Amy, who's 24 for 2 years. I met her at a fancy coffee shop near my office, where I work for a finance company. I won't say which one, just in case she sees this post. She worked there as a barista, while finishing her master's in marketing or something. The first time I saw her, I thought she was way out of my league, to be honest. She had this perfect smile and always remembered everyone's orders. Mine was a large caramel latte with an extra shot. Yeah, basic, I know, LOL. She'd have it ready before I even got to the counter most days. We'd chat about random things while she made drinks, like my boring work stories or her classes, just normal stuff. My family's pretty well off. My parents run a big investment firm downtown and have been pushing me to join the family business since I was about 12. I did the whole private school thing and got a finance degree from a good university, but then I decided to get a job at one of their competitor firms, just to prove I could make it on my own. My dad wasn't happy about that one, LMAO. Amy was totally different from the girls I usually met through work or my parents' fancy business parties. Those girls were always trying to impress my family or get something from me, but Amy actually listened when I talked. She remembered little details about things I mentioned weeks ago and seemed to genuinely care about what I thought. She didn't try to hide that she came from a normal family. Her dad's a high school teacher, and her mom works at a dentist's office. She was putting herself through grad school by working at the coffee shop and doing some online marketing gigs on the side. I really respected her work ethic. We had this thing where I'd come in right before the morning rush around 8:15, and she'd always find a way to chat for a few minutes, even when things were getting busy. She'd tell me about her crazy customers or this professor who was being tough on her, and I'd complain about my boss being obsessed with making perfect presentations. Looking back, I should have noticed something strange about how interested she was in my friend group, especially my best friend Jake, 26. She'd always ask if he was coming to whatever plans we made or mention how cool it was that he was opening his own gym. At the time, I thought she was just being friendly and supportive of my best friend, but I was really stupid. Jake and I go way back to high school. We played football together. He was actually good. I just sat on the bench and ended up at the same college. He was my roommate all 4 years, and we've been like brothers ever since. He's the kind of guy who makes friends with everyone, super outgoing, always organizing things, and really charming when he wants to be. When I first told Jake about Amy, he was weirdly excited. He kept saying I should ask her out, that she seemed perfect for me, and even offered to help plan dates. I thought he was just being a good friend, trying to help his socially awkward buddy get a girlfriend. After about 3 months of being a regular at her coffee shop, I finally asked Amy out. I was super nervous and had this whole speech planned, but I ended up just blurting out, "Want to get dinner sometime?" like an idiot while she handed me my coffee. She said yes before I could even finish the question. Jake helped me plan a nice dinner at a restaurant his gym client owned. Amy seemed genuinely happy that night, which is what makes all of this so messed up. She played the part of the perfect girlfriend so well. Always sending me good morning texts, bringing me lunch when I was having a tough day, remembering important dates, and never even glancing at other guys when we went out. Well, except Jake's, apparently. But I'll get to that part later. After Amy and I started dating, things moved quickly. We clicked right away. She seemed really interested in learning about my work, or at least pretending to be. She'd ask me to explain different financial terms and act impressed when I explained complex market stuff. Now, I realize she was probably just gathering info to seem more sophisticated for her plan. Jake was oddly present from the start. He'd show up at the coffee shop a lot when Amy was working, claiming he was meeting clients, but he'd always hang around her counter talking about his gym plans. I thought it was cool that my girlfriend and best friend got along so well. But now I know I was an idiot. The first red flag I missed was this party at my place about 3 months in. I was in the kitchen getting snacks when I came back and saw Jake showing Amy his workout videos on his phone. They were sitting really close, and she was totally focused on his screen. As soon as they saw me, they jumped apart, and Amy started asking about my day, super loudly. Stupid me thought she was just being polite, watching his gym videos. Jake started inviting us to everything. Movie nights, gym events, beach trips, always had some reason we had to be there. Amy would get super excited about these hangouts, always asking what Jake thought of her outfit or if he'd be impressed by whatever dish she brought. I thought she was just trying to impress my friends. About 6 months in, Amy started working out at Jake's gym. She said she wanted to support his business and got a special rate because she was my girlfriend. She'd go at odd times like early before work or late at night, claiming those were the only times that worked with her schedule. Meanwhile, Jake was messaging her about form checks and nutrition plans. One time, a coworker saw them having lunch together at a cafe near my office. When I asked Amy about it, she said she ran into Jake by accident and they just grabbed a quick bite. Jake backed up her story, saying he was meeting a client and bumped into her. They had this whole explanation ready. The really messed up part was that while all this was happening, Amy was like the perfect girlfriend to me. She'd leave little notes in my work bag, cook my favorite meals, always remember important dates, and even got my mom's secret recipe for Christmas cookies and made them perfectly. My parents loved her. My mom was already talking about wedding venues. Sorry, Mom, but she wasn't distant in our relationship. She was always there when I needed her, which made it hard to question the weird vibe between her and Jake, especially since Jake had a girlfriend. I introduced Amy to all my work friends, and she charmed everyone. She was super professional at office parties, knew how to talk to the senior partners, and even helped me with presentations sometimes. My boss started giving me better projects because he said I seemed more focused and put together since meeting her. Jake always told me how lucky I was, saying, "Bro, you really upgraded from your ex, and Amy is going to help your career so much." Stuff like that. He'd even say she was wife material, and I should lock it down. Meanwhile, they were probably laughing about me behind my back. I even started looking at rings around month 8. Jake went with me to the jewelry store because he's supposedly an expert on what girls like from his gym clients. He mentioned this one weird moment at my birthday party. Amy got super dressed up, way more than needed for a casual house party. She kept trying to get Jake to notice her outfit, kept accidentally bumping into him in the kitchen. My friend Chris noticed and asked if I thought something was up. I defended them so hard, saying they were like siblings and Chris was just imagining things. Amy started getting ready for the gym like she was going to a photo shoot. Full makeup, matching workout sets, always fixing her hair. She said she wanted to look professional since she was dating one of Jake's friends. She even bought new workout clothes because Jake mentioned his gym had a certain image to maintain. We had a double date with Jake and his girlfriend Lisa a few times. Amy would get weird, quiet, and moody, but she'd say it was just because she was tired from work or school. Lisa noticed Amy staring at Jake a lot, but I made excuses, saying Amy was probably just zoning out because she was stressed about grad school. Around 6 months ago, Amy started acting super strange. It was like someone flipped a switch. First, it was small things. She'd take forever to text back, started canceling our lunch dates, saying she had to study or work extra shifts. But then, I'd see her posting gym selfies on Instagram during those exact times. She got really protective of her phone, too. Like she'd literally jump if I walked behind her while she was texting. She always had it face down on the table and would take it everywhere, even to the bathroom. One time, it fell out of her pocket, and when I picked it up, she snatched it from my hands before I could even hand it back, saying she had private work emails she didn't want anyone to see. She stopped trying to make plans with me, and the gym thing got really intense. She used to go maybe 3 times a week, but suddenly she was there every day, sometimes twice. Always had to be when Jake was working, saying he was the only trainer who understood her fitness goals. She'd come home super late with wet hair, saying she showered at the gym because she had to rush to a study group. Jake started acting differently, too. He used to text me all the time about random stuff, but he got really distant. He stopped coming to our weekly basketball games, always had some excuse about training clients. But then I'd see him posting stories from bars and parties I wasn't invited to. Amy was always in the background of these posts, but they never posted pictures together directly. One really strange thing happened at a work party I had. Amy was supposed to come. She always did because she knew it was important for my career. But about 30 minutes before, she texted saying she had a migraine and needed to stay home. I was upset because my boss was expecting to meet her again. But whatever, people get sick, right? So I'm at this boring party alone when a coworker showed me this gym story his girlfriend posted. In the background, you can clearly see Amy and Jake working out together. When I asked Amy about it later, she had a whole story ready about how exercise helps with migraines, and Jake was doing her a favor by training her last minute. She even got mad at me for not supporting her health. She started dressing differently too. Before, she was pretty casual, jeans and sweaters, but suddenly she was buying all these tight dresses and fancy workout clothes. She said she needed to look more professional for her future marketing career, but she only wore this stuff when she knew Jake would be around. The really messed up part. She started talking about Jake all the time. She'd randomly bring him up in conversations that had nothing to do with him. We could be talking about what movie to watch, and she'd say, "Oh, Jake said this new Netflix show is really good." Or Jake thinks Marvel movies are getting. Since when did she care so much about Jake's opinions on movies? I started to wonder if I was the problem, so I decided to surprise her at the coffee shop where she worked. She usually worked until 4, so I showed up at 3:30 with flowers since she had been really stressed lately. But her coworker said she had left early, claiming she wasn't feeling well. I called her, worried, but it went straight to voicemail. Later, she posted a gym selfie with Jake barely visible in the mirror behind her. When I asked her about it, she deleted the post and said her coworker must have mixed up her schedule. The excuse of being busy with studying got really tired. She'd say she was at the library until late, but her Snapchat location showed she was at Jake's gym. When I mentioned it, she got super defensive and accused me of tracking her and being controlling, making me feel crazy for even bringing it up. Even my mom noticed something was off. Amy used to text her a lot asking for recipes and things, but she stopped responding to my mom's messages, always claiming she was too busy with grad school. However, she always had time to comment on every single one of Jake's Instagram posts within minutes. I started feeling really insecure, which isn't like me at all. I began going to the gym more, trying to get in better shape, but Amy barely noticed. She'd just say, "Oh, that's nice," without even looking up from her phone. But if Jake posted a shirtless gym picture, she would literally stop mid-sentence to like and comment on it. At that point, I decided to take action because all the signs were overwhelming me. I wasn't even supposed to be home that afternoon, had a work thing scheduled, but it got canceled last minute. I figured I'd grab a coffee before heading back, so I walked toward my car. Then I heard Amy's voice coming from a cafe near my office. She was sitting with a group of women I didn't recognize, probably her coworkers. It wasn't unusual for her to be there, but something about the way she was talking, low, almost secretive, made me stop in my tracks. Normally, I'm not the type to eavesdrop, but something compelled me to stop. Amy was talking really loudly, laughing about how pathetic it was that everyone at my office was obsessed with her. She said my female coworkers were jealous, and the guys couldn't stop staring whenever she visited. She just kept going, laughing like it was all a joke, talking about their crazy chemistry, how Jake was more exciting but a bit dumb, unlike me. She said I was safe and looked good on paper, but Jake was her real passion, and her friends were eating it up, giggling and asking for details about their gym sessions. Like it was some kind of reality show drama. I walked into that cafe shaking. As soon as Amy saw me, her face barely changed. Just a flicker of shock before she put on a fake smile and said, "Babe, what are you doing here?" Way too loud, as if this was completely normal. Her friends froze, wide-eyed, but Amy just laughed it off, acting like I'd walked in on the funniest conversation ever. We were just joking around. You know how girls are. We say the craziest things. I stared at her and said, "So you're not actually calling me a boring placeholder while you mess around with Jake?" Her friends started awkwardly gathering their things, suddenly very interested in their phones. Amy kept up the act, saying, "Oh my God, you're so sensitive," still forcing that laugh. Seriously, it was just stupid girl talk, no big deal. I didn't argue. I wasn't about to let her put on a show, so I just said, "Right, no big deal," and walked out. The ride home was silent. She barely looked at me, staring out the window like I was the one who needed to explain myself. The second we got inside, she flipped out. "I can't believe you made a scene like that," she snapped. "You embarrassed me." I let out a short laugh and shook my head. "Embarrassed you? You're the one talking about your real passion, while I'm just some safe, boring placeholder. But if it's so innocent, prove it." Her eyes narrowed. "What do you mean?" I pulled her phone from the counter where she'd left it open. "Your text with Jake," I said. "Read them out loud." Her whole face changed. "Are you serious?" she scoffed, crossing her arms. "You want me to perform for you now?" "You said there's nothing to hide, so read them," I replied. I held her phone out. She snatched it from my hand and pressed it to her chest like I was a threat. "This is insane. You're acting crazy over a joke," she said. But we both knew it wasn't a joke, and she wasn't reading those texts for a reason. I held up her phone, let it scan her shocked face, and went straight to her messages with Jake. My hands were shaking as I scrolled. There were no blatant confessions or I love yous, but the inside jokes, the late night messages, the tone. It wasn't innocent. It was too much, too familiar, and that's what drove me crazy. If nothing was going on, why did she say all that stuff at the cafe? Why act like Jake was some wild, passionate secret while I was just the guy who looked good in photos? I couldn't even look at her. I tossed her phone onto the couch and walked out, leaving her standing there calling my name like I was the problem. But I wasn't just angry at her, I was more pissed at Jake than anything. I got in my car and drove straight to his place, ready to throw hands. The door opened, and there he was, and so was Lisa, his girlfriend. Jake looked genuinely confused, like I'd just shown up speaking a foreign language. "What the hell are you talking about?" he asked like I was some lunatic off the street. "Dude, she's just a client. You're imagining things." Then Lisa jumped in, backing him up. "Jake would never do that to you," she said, shaking her head like this was all some huge misunderstanding. "He literally always talks about how great you and Amy are together." They made me feel like a complete idiot, like I had just blown up my relationship over nothing. I left Jake's place feeling worse than when I got there. Maybe I was paranoid. Maybe it was just gym talk. Amy kept hammering that into my head, saying I was ruining everything over some dumb jokes. But I couldn't shake the feeling. The way she talked in that cafe, the defensiveness, the behavior changes, the texts that weren't outright bad but still felt off. Something wasn't right, and I just didn't know what it was yet. Either they were intentionally driving me crazy, or I was just overreacting. After being left confused, things got even weirder. Amy completely changed, suddenly love-bombing me like crazy. She wanted to spend every minute with me, sending these long texts about our future, planning trips months ahead. But then, she'd slip up, getting super nervous whenever Jake's name came up, or quickly changing the subject if anyone mentioned the gym. She even stopped going to the gym and told me she'd block Jake everywhere if that would make me more comfortable, saying she didn't care about anyone but me. Jake was even worse with the manipulation. He started inviting me to everything: gym sessions, group hangouts, even trying to plan a couple's vacation with me, Amy, and Lisa. Then this girl, Maria, from Amy's office messaged me, saying she felt guilty for keeping quiet. Apparently, Amy had been taking long lunch breaks that lined up exactly with Jake's training gaps. Maria sent me screenshots of Amy's work calendar, showing all these blocked off meetings that didn't exist. When I showed Amy the screenshots, she completely lost it. She started crying, saying Maria was just jealous of her success and that I was ruining everything by not trusting her. She even got her friends to message me, saying I was being controlling and abusive for investigating her. Jake played it perfectly too, acting all concerned about me, saying maybe I needed therapy for my trust issues. Lisa told me how Jake was worried about my paranoid behavior. They made me feel crazy for suspecting anything. The worst part? Some of our friends started taking their side, saying I was overreacting to some harmless gym flirting. One friend even said that if something did happen, maybe I should just forgive them and move on. I almost believed them. I almost convinced myself that I was imagining everything. But the breaking point came when I decided to access the gym's security footage through one of the trainers named Mike. I wanted to see if I was really just being paranoid. The footage showed Amy entering Jake's private training room late at night after the gym was closed. She would leave 2 to 3 hours later looking disheveled. This happened multiple times a week. When I confronted her again, she insisted they were doing intense training sessions, and I was sexualizing innocent workouts. Jake backed her story up completely, saying lots of clients came in after hours for private training. Lisa even defended him, claiming Jake was too professional to mess around with clients. They had everyone convinced I was losing it. I thought that was complete nonsense. That day, I sat in my car for about 2 hours just thinking. And I realized something. It didn't matter anymore if they were actually hooking up or not. The trust was completely gone. I was disgusted by Amy ever since I heard her trashing me. I was turning into someone I didn't like. Checking phones, watching security footage, doubting everything. I couldn't sleep, couldn't focus at work, and jumped every time my phone buzzed. I made my decision right there. I texted Amy and told her it was over. I said I couldn't be with someone I didn't trust anymore. I blocked her number before she could even respond, and I blocked Jake too. I didn't even bother telling him why. I told my doorman not to let either of them up to my apartment. 3 days after I broke up with Amy, I received an email from a blank account, just a link to a Google Drive folder. I almost deleted it thinking it was spam, but the subject line read, "Proof about Jake and Amy." I clicked it. At this point, what did I have to lose? The folder contained everything. Hundreds of screenshots of Jake's private messages with his gym buddies dating back over a year, videos from the gym security cameras, and even recordings of their conversations in his office. It turned out Mike wasn't the only trainer who thought something was wrong. The messages revealed the real story. Jake had been obsessed with Amy since the day I introduced them. He'd message his friends about how he had to have her and how it was torture watching her with me. The guy was literally tracking her gym schedule and adjusting his training slots to match her workout times. The most insane part was that Amy wasn't the one pursuing him like she bragged to her friends. Jake had been manipulating everything from the start. He'd say things like, "I don't understand you like I do," and "we have this special connection." Classic predator stuff. There were messages of him bragging about how he was slowly turning Amy against me. He'd tell her fake stories about me talking to other girls at work, then act all supportive when she got upset. He'd send screenshots of our texts to his friends, laughing about how he was stealing his best friend's girl. The security footage was even worse. It showed Jake following Amy around the gym, always finding excuses to spot her during workouts or check her form. He got super possessive if other trainers talked to her and even told the front desk to alert him whenever she checked in. But Jake was playing both sides perfectly. He'd send me long messages about being worried about Amy's inappropriate behavior at the gym, making it seem like she was the one causing problems. Meanwhile, he was telling his friends how fun it was to watch me lose my mind, trying to figure out what was happening. Lisa had no clue. Jake would literally leave their bed at night to message Amy, telling her how much he wanted her. He'd show his gym friends videos of Amy working out without her knowing. He even called her his future wife in their group chat while planning his proposal to Lisa. I found out Jake had done this before, too. There were messages joking about how this was easier than last time because being my best friend gave him the perfect cover. Apparently, he had done this same trick with his friends' girlfriends before, getting close as the supportive friend, then slowly manipulating them. Amy wasn't innocent in all this. The messages showed she eventually started playing along, enjoying the attention and drama, but it was clear Jake was the mastermind. The anonymous email turned out to be from Jake's ex before Lisa. She said she tried warning other girls about him, but he always managed to make her seem crazy and jealous. She'd been gathering evidence for months after seeing him start the same pattern with Amy. She sent everything to Lisa, because she deserved to know what kind of guy she was defending. Jake's whole perfect trainer image was a joke. He wasn't some hard-working, self-made guy. He was just using her dad's gym connections to build his client base while creeping on his clients' girlfriends. The worst part was I trusted him. We weren't just gym buddies. I actually considered him a friend. I defended him when people called him cocky. I let him train Amy because I thought he was solid, someone who had my back. Turns out he was smiling in my face while chasing after my girlfriend behind my back. Looking at all the little red flags I ignored, I felt stupid. This wasn't just about Amy anymore. This was about realizing that a guy I called a friend had been playing me the whole time. After sending everything to Lisa, I didn't hear anything for 2 days. Then suddenly, my phone exploded with notifications. Lisa had gone nuclear, posting all the evidence on their gym's social media, every screenshot, every creepy message Jake sent about Amy, every gross comment he made about his female clients. Jake's perfect image crashed hard. All his female clients canceled immediately. It turned out he had been secretly recording their workouts too, which is super illegal. Lisa's dad shut down Jake's trainer account the same day and banned him from all their gym locations. But the best part was Amy finding out the truth. Lisa sent her all the messages showing how Jake had played her. The ones where he called her easy to manipulate and laughed about how she actually believed he'd leave Lisa for her. There were screenshots of him telling his gym friends how he was collecting another friend's girl for his trophy wall. Amy completely lost it. She had a full meltdown, started showing up at Jake's apartment, screaming about how he promised they'd be together. Security had to remove her twice. She kept posting these long rants on Instagram about their true love until Jake's lawyer told her to stop. Here's where it gets interesting. I started getting messages from Jake's old friends. Apparently, he'd pulled this exact same move with 3 other friends' girlfriends. He'd pretend to be the supportive best friend while slowly manipulating their girlfriends, then ghost everyone once he got caught. I found out he had this whole system. He'd target friends with attractive girlfriends who had something to prove, like Amy, trying to fit into my finance world. He'd play the understanding friend, slowly convincing them that their boyfriend was holding them back, then use that insecurity to hook them. Lisa's handling things like a boss. She filed reports about the illegal gym recordings, told all their mutual friends what Jake had done, and even warned his new gym about his history. She actually reached out to me last week, wanting to get coffee and compare notes about all his lies. Meeting Lisa for coffee was weird at first, but it turned out really well. We talked for hours about all the red flags we missed, and ended up going to dinner too. There's definitely something there, but we're both taking it super slow. We both need time to process all this crazy stuff. Amy's not doing well. She tried messaging me a long apology about being manipulated, but honestly, the screenshots show she was pretty into the whole thing. Once Jake got her hooked, she loved the drama and attention. Now she's stuck working at her parents' store because everyone at her old job knows what happened. Jake's life imploded. He completely lost his training license when the illegal recordings came out. His gym friends turned on him once Lisa exposed everything. He tried making a comeback at some small gym across town, but the owner's daughter saw Lisa's posts and got him fired. The craziest part is that more girls are coming forward now. Jake's been doing this for years, always targeting his friends' girlfriends, always playing the same supportive friend role. He had a whole collection of videos and photos from past conquests saved on his computer. Super creepy stuff. Last I heard, Jake's living with his brother in another state. He still posts these fake motivational gym stories, but everyone knows the truth now. Amy keeps trying to contact him, but he's blocked her everywhere. Guess she's not so special anymore, now that everyone knows his game. Lisa and I have been hanging out more. Nothing serious yet, but it's nice having someone who really understands what it was like being fooled by Jake. We're both in therapy, dealing with all this. Turns out, getting betrayed by someone you totally trusted messes with your head pretty bad. And yeah, here I am right now. The next update will probably be my last. I'm going to focus on moving forward and learning from all this, but I feel like Amy won't leave me alone. Hi, guys. Writing this from a beach in Hawaii. After everything that happened, I decided to use my saved engagement ring money for something better. A 2-week vacation. Lisa came with me. Yeah, it's going really well. We've been hiking, learning to surf, and just enjoying being away from all the drama back home. Quick updates on everyone else. First, Jake's apparently working at a protein shake shop in Nevada. His Instagram followers dropped from 50,000 to like 500 after everything came out. He still posts these sad motivational quotes, but nobody's buying his fake guru act anymore. Amy moved to her cousin's place in another state. She tried starting a fitness Instagram, but people kept commenting about the Jake situation until she had to make it private. Last I heard, she's finding herself through crystal healing or something. Lisa has been amazing through all this. We took things super slow at first, lots of long talks about trust and boundaries. She gets it. You know, we both got played by people we trusted completely, but instead of letting it make us bitter, we're helping each other heal. Funny story. We almost didn't book this trip. We both felt weird about taking a vacation together so soon. Then we saw Jake posted some BS about how true players never lose their game, and we decided, screw it. Let's make some happy memories instead of letting him affect us anymore. Lisa and I spent a lot of time laughing about red flags we missed. Like how Jake used to get weirdly invested in his friends and relationships, always offering advice that usually led to breakups, or how he'd somehow always date girls whose dads owned gyms or sports companies. Yesterday, we went snorkeling and saw these two fish swimming together. Lisa joked they probably had a better love story than Jake's fake romance stories. We've been healing through humor a lot. Turns out that works better than being angry. Yesterday, I had a message from Mike, the honest trainer from the old gym, saying Jake tried applying at his new workplace. Mike showed the owner all the evidence, and Jake got rejected immediately. Guess karma keeps doing its thing. Right now, I'm going to focus on building something good with Lisa, growing in my career, and maybe planning more beach vacations. Thinking Bali next time. Thanks for all the support, Reddit. Special thanks to the people who told me to trust my gut when I first posted about hearing Amy at that cafe. You guys helped me dodge a bullet and accidentally find something real instead. Living my best life in Hawaii with Lisa, while Jake makes protein shakes in Nevada, and Amy does crystal healing somewhere. Sometimes losing fake people leads you to real ones.